G'day guys, kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Yeah, what can I say? You know, no matter what you say about the Crusaders, you gotta respect them. You gotta give them the, take your hat off for just how incredible this team is at delivering the results for their fans. No matter how much you think they're down and out, they are always gonna get up and keep on fighting. You know, it wasn't that long ago this team lost the Western Force. Remember the first round two when they lost to the Brumbies in record score margin at Christchurch? Remember that? That everybody thought the Brumbies was gonna go on and dominate the competition. Finally, we're gonna get an Australian team that's gonna take the competition by its horns and really probably have a good chance of winning it this year. The Crusaders once again firmly in control of their own destiny, getting themselves into the finals, despite having a much tougher competition. Let's not sugarcoat this imbalance here in Super Rugby. The New Zealand sides has to play against other New Zealand sides twice throughout the season. The Australian sides only have to play against other Australian sides twice this season. And as a result, it is much harder for the New Zealand sides to make into the top six. And even with the harder competition, the Crusaders still delivered the results for their fans. You know, I know a lot of you guys gonna hate me when I say this. I'm gonna apologize for the Crusaders. I have been hating the Crusaders for over 20 years as a child. I remember in school, we had like tipping, Super Rugby tipping, and I tipped against the Crusaders every week. And at the end of the competition, I was ranked like 5th or something against everybody else in the class. And I calculated, if I had just not tipped against the Crusaders every week like I did, I would have won the tipping comp. And that was like 20 years ago. And I think it's time for us to really put the top poppy aside and just for once and just recognize the achievements of our fellow member of the rugby community and really just give them the respect that they deserve. You know, there's one thing, and I know you guys are still saying, oh, I don't want to do that Wildcard. There's no way I'm going to support those or, show any respect to those one-eye Canterbury Crusader fans or Crusader team. Well, let me tell you something, guys. There's a reason we're struggling against Rugby League. Rugby League understands the importance of building up their superstars, their players, their game, their teams. They build a mystique around the successful teams. They build a mystique around the state of origin. They make players into immortals. I mean, talk about top poppies, literally calling themselves gods, right? You have all these immortals that used to be legends of the game just to build them up, to keep the fans engaged, to keep that story of the rugby league as a game being a place where people worthy of being gods are playing the sport. That is something that rugby league does better than rugby union. That is why rugby league is winning. That is why you're selling the Warriors jerseys in the All Black stores in New Zealand. Because you have taken what is good and you kill it off. And you gotta take your hat off for the Crusaders. No matter how hard we've all been trying to push them down, we've all been cursing them, hoping that they do badly. The Crusaders has risen again and again and again and prove us all wrong. It is not something that you can just do at a snap of your fingers. It is not something that is easily achieved for any team. especially in an environment where any sort of success is being trashed by the pundits, by the fans. Everybody is cursing you. Or you know, every time you lose, the people are cheering. And it's time for us to let that go. It's time for us to really realizing that the Crusaders are better than the Panthers. That rugby is a better sport than rugby league. The Richie McCaw, Dan Carter are immortals of our sport. And they came from the Crusaders, like it or not. They are immortals of our sport. They were the greatest. Not just in rugby, probably in all of sports. If they play rugby league, they would have been immortals. Yet in rugby union, they're just forgotten. Maybe come and shake players' hands every now and then and attend a function and make a speech. I think it's time for us to realize the problem. And, you know, after watching the lackluster season of the Waratahs, I'm really starting to appreciate the Crusaders more and more and more. You know, they understood the new stadium is built for them. They understood that the fans are showing up to see them win. We have a new stadium here in Sydney. The Waratahs in the brand new stadium. I mean, it's a couple of years ago, you know, a few years old, but it's still pretty much a brand new stadium. Where's the result? No one cares. Winning and losing is just whatever. Who cares? The Crusaders spent the whole season building. Every time they lost the game, they looked at what they did wrong and they improved on it. Every week, you can see Fainga'anuku getting better at number 7. He had an absolutely outstanding game tonight. He had a world-class performance as a number 7, as any forward would be proud of. Like, the work rate this guy put out on the field tonight was astronomical. If you're like any forward, will be envious of the amount of work that he did for the Crusaders 4-pack tonight. And that's what the Crusaders do. They take the players, they look at what they need to improve, and they work on it every week. And then only to have the media saying, "Oh, I'm not convinced. Fainga'anuku, not convinced. Anoku, not convinced. Oh, Ruben Love, not convinced. You got to win a Super Rugby before we even think about giving you the black jersey." Seriously, if Ruben Love don't get the starting fly half jersey for the All Blacks, what are we even doing? What are we even doing? All I ever hear from New Zealand pundits are talking down to their players. Whenever someone gets a bit too good, let's bring him down a notch. Let's bring him down a notch. You know, Jacob, I saw some articles this week. Could he potentially replace Beauden Barrett? Nah, not convinced. Not convinced. Come on. Come on. Give these guys a chance. And it's just, you know, it's a different problem in New Zealand from Australia. But I think, boy, I wish that I'm living in Christchurch instead of New South Wales. I wish I can support the All Blacks instead of the Wallabies. It's just the difference. It's day and night. And you know, I think I'm converted. I think I'm converted to a Crusaders fan. I went around New Zealand. I went to the Crusaders headquarters. They were super nice to me. They don't know who I am. I didn't go in and say like I'm a content creator. Show me around. They didn't do any of that. I'm just like, hey, I'm just a random guy walking around. Could I just take some photos? And like, sure, take some photos. To inspire through being the best. That's their logo. You know, this is their cups on display. Just let me touch it. No one's upset. No one cared. Look at all the trophies. One of the guys showed me their office. Show a lot of the, all the players' signatures and stuff were on the wall, on the door. Just newspaper cutouts. Just showed the passion. He showed me the passion. He didn't know who I was. He showed me the passion that they had for their players. How much they loved their own legends. Richie McCaw right here. How much they pride themselves. And he tried to make me feel that little bit of pride. That little bit of goodness that he feels every week being a member of the Crusaders family. Boy, what a difference. What a difference. And this game, what can I say? I feel like I say this every week. The team that kicks a penalty goal gets screwed. Not going to be able to win. You're capitulating. You're capitulating. I can understand that Chiefs might be a little bit shaky without Damien McKenzie, but should have trusted yourselves a little bit. Should have trusted yourselves a little bit there. David Havili stepping up when the team needed him the most, kicking a 50-22 to score the last try himself to win the match. I thought Jacobs, despite all the thing that people say about him, not able to replace Bowden Barrett, you can actually see that he's under a lot of pressure this week. You can see it in his face that he's struggling a little bit. He's a little bit struggling out there. But it's okay. He's still young. You just got to give him more time. He might get there one day, right? Don't pour cold water over him. He might get there one day. He might be a great All Black one day, right? Just got to keep him, keep him motivated. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. And there were times when, the Chiefs had the dominance for the most part of this game. And there were times it looked like the Crusaders might just be down and out. And but they just keep fighting. They kept fighting. They kept pushing. They did not capitulate. The Chiefs kicked a couple penalty goals. And you can tell they're losing momentum from there onwards. And it just wasn't good enough. I mean, the Crusaders, this is something that they do their best. They ramp and build towards the season, and they ran to build towards the end of the game. And for the Chiefs to kick the penalty goal, I think a lot of people probably saw the Crusaders potentially making a comeback after that scrum penalty they got and score, and then they kicked the 3 there. There are also still things for the Crusaders to improve, and I have no doubt they are going to improve going into the final rounds. The goal kicking was horrendous for the Crusaders. The lineouts were struggling. Like, how many lineouts did they lose this game, right? We'll look at that in a minute. The scrum, they lost the scrum as well. So some of the core parts of the game still needs a lot of work for the Crusaders. And I'm sure they will build towards that in the next round and then going into the finals. And, that is just something you gotta. I think that the Crusaders, it's just really something special. And I think Rob Penny losing the first year he took charge is really starting to really make some momentum building for this team once again this season. I don't know what to say, man. I just wish one Australian team can do this, and it'll make everybody so happy all around Australia. But anyway. There was time where I thought Luke Jacobson should have been sent off for yellow card multiple times. But he got away with it from the referee a little bit. But what a performance! What a performance from the Crusaders. Let's talk about the match stats of the game. 6 tries to 4, 539 meters for the Crusaders, and 350 to the Chiefs. 12 turnovers conceded for the Crusaders, 13 against the Chiefs. 27 defenders beaten for the Crusaders, only 15 for the Chiefs. 192 tackles made for the Crusaders, 15 missed tackles. 178 tackles made for the Chiefs, 27 missed tackles. That defense, especially in the end towards the second half, was really struggling for the Chiefs there. A bunch of kicking missed, like less than 50% for the Crusaders. 3 out of 6 in in conversions and 0 out of 1 for penalty. 3 out of 4. Sometimes I say like you've missed your penalties is actually a good thing because you kind of tells your teammates we can't win the game by kicking penalty goals, and you have to back yourselves to score those tries. And then the team pushes themselves out of the comfort zone and then seizes the moment and wins the game. 3 out of 4 for the Chiefs, and 100% for penalty goals there as well. We've got the scrum. The lineouts. 9 for the Crusaders, 4 lost. My goodness. 11 for the Chiefs, no loss there for them. There was 1 scrum loss as well against the feed, which was the penalty, I think, that near the end, the last penalty that the Chiefs kicked. Maybe that's the strategy. Given the penalty right in front of the goal post, and make them take. No, it wasn't the last penalty. It was the one. It was early in the second half. Immediately coming out of the gates, it was a scrum penalty. I think they kicked that. The Chiefs kicked that. But yeah, no scrum loss for the Chiefs there. Penalties conceded 10 against the Crusaders to the Chiefs 6. So discipline-wise, can be improved as well for the Crusaders, and still things they can work and polish it up going into the final round against the Hurricanes next week and going into the finals. So with that being said, let's have a quick recap of the tries scored. 4 minutes in the game, there was some nice hands to the Chiefs down the sideline, some passes between themselves, and Tamoy Falau, little like step in field, goes in for the try, 5 points to 0. There was, after this, the Crusaders actually looked like they scored a cheeky little line-out try. There was Severis got a quick line-out throw in for Noah Hotham, who ran down the sideline, cut past between the players, and Noah Hotham looked like he went to the corner. Turned out his foot just wobbled a little bit and scraped the sideline before he grounded the ball. So no try. And then 40 minutes, the Crusaders kept on building. Lots of pick and goes near the post, and then Fainga'anuku drives over for the try. 5 points apiece for both teams. 23 minutes into the game, the Chiefs went to their bread and butter. They went for the line out, they set up the ball, just nicely rammed through from Taukiaho, who went in for the try. 12 points to 5. 32 minutes in the game. There was I think there was a penalty that was kicked before this. No, not yet. So 32 minutes of the game, there was a lot of pressure from the Chiefs, lots of pick and goes, and then there was a bit of a mix-up in the Crusaders defense, and then what's his name? Josh Lord crashed through for the try. Again, there was a bunch of like backs there, kind of ran into each other. I think the Blackadder like bumped into one of his own defenders or something here, and then the Chiefs gets themselves another try. The scoreboard ticks up to what was it? Surely this is not the right score. I missed one. There was a try before this with Jamie Hanna. Crusaders gets the scoreboard to 12 points to 12, I think. And then this try was scored 12 points to 15. What happened here? I can't remember. There was a try. I got a bit mixed up. But anyway, there was a lot of Crusader pressure before halftime, and wasn't able to score. Second half, immediately come out of the gates. There was an early penalty. Chiefs kicks a 3. And then I was like, oh my boy, maybe they're going to lose this one. And sure enough, there was a bunch of Crusader pressure. There was a nice hit midfield. The ball went loose. It was scooped up by the Crusaders. And Havili passed the ball to McNichol. Down the sideline, back in field to... further out, passes to Reese. Reese back in field to McNichol, who ran in for another try. 24 points to 22 at this point. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, 53 minutes. There was another Chief line-out set play. The ball kind of went out to Paya, who ran a little underslide midfield, punched through the defenders for the try. 29 points to 24. 65 minutes, the Chiefs gets another penalty for building a lot of pressure in front of the goalpost. I thought for sure they were going to go for a try, but no, they capitulated, went for the 3 points. 32 points to 24. At that point, I was like, yep, the Chiefs going to lose because there was such a huge momentum loss. They were inside the 22 repeated penalties. Could have probably got a yellow card if he kept on pushing, but they decided to take the 3. 69 minutes, Crusaders had a a penalty 5 meters short. There was a penalty advantage. They were just getting really close. A short arm advantage. The ball went out to Will Jordan. Really long pass, cut out like 3 people to Johnny McNichol, who ran into the corner. 29 points to 32. After this, it looked like the Crusader needs to pull the rabbit out of the bag. Now the Chiefs was just really building, and then Havili does the magic trick. It kicks a 50-22, and the Crusaders follow the lineouts through. A bunch of piling in. There was a pick and go for Fainga'anuku. Keep calling the wrong name. Anoku, he picked up, and it looked like he was going to get tackled. And just as he's in front of the try line, he turns around, flings the ball back to Havili. A lot of the Chiefs defenders were just completely got this off guard because they thought, Fainga'anuku was going to get tackled, and then Havili just ran straight through under the post. 36 points to 32. And the last ditch effort before full time, Chiefs ran down the sideline. A desperate passes didn't quite get to hand, and the Crusaders gets turnover at the breakdown and wins the game 36-32. And pretty much, I think they seal themselves into the top 6. I don't think they can get kicked out of top 6 anymore. Let me know your thoughts about this game. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Have a good one. Cheers.